You know, we basically only have about another year and a half or so with them. Really? I know, that's it. And as I told you when you were parents of a freshman, remember that parent meeting and I told you, bam, it's gonna go so quickly. Well, here we go. We are on the downhill of our juniors. And tonight is primarily getting everything laid out in place for their senior year, because now, as a junior, we actually begin applying to colleges. We actually begin preparing them for writing those essays that the admissions people love to see and read. Now it's time to start getting them even more prepared for the real world and what this beautiful experience of our world can present to us. And because they are a Mount student, they're ready. They are going to be ready. They're going to be ready for vocations. They're going to be ready for the military. They're going to be ready for college. They're going to be ready for the working world. And so this evening, which I hope you were able to take a glance at the agenda for tonight, is primarily the counselor's spotlight tonight for you. So welcome. And as we always do when we gather together, we're going to open in prayer. And I'm going to ask Christy Welch to join me here at the microphone. She is your student's theology teacher. Okay? All right, Miss Welch, thank you.
If you will please join me in praying the Suscipe of Catherine McCauley. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. My God, I am yours for time and eternity. Teach me to cast myself entirely into the arms of your loving providence, with a lively and unlimited confidence in your compassionate, tender pity. Grant, O most merciful Redeemer, that whatever you ordain or permit may be acceptable to me. Take from my heart all painful anxiety. Let nothing sadden me but sin, nothing delight me but the hope of coming to the possession of you, my God and my all, in your everlasting kingdom. Amen. In the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
And I would like to ask our staff to please stand. They might be gathered around you, near you. And so our awesome ball cap donor is Coach Tyler Shilley. He teaches English. Coach Kevin Winterroad, new to the Mount, not new to education, but new to the Mount. He is in the Social Studies Department. We want to welcome Alex Weisham from Notre Dame through our ACE program, and he also is in the Social Studies Department. Thank you, Alex. Rachel, if you will wave. Rachel is our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and she is on the agenda for tonight. Miss Catherine Pickens. Miss Pickens is in our Math Department. Mallory Techmeyer, wait, there she is. She is our upperclassman counselor for letters A through L. Got it, okay. Joy Groth-Murphy. She is from the Advancement Office, and she is our Director of Alumni Relations. Tanya Averin, there's our Tanya. She also is in Advancement. And Donna Williams, she is from our Counselor's Office, and she is the upperclassman for M through Z students. And then, there we go, Becca Hightower. Mrs. Hightower is our Director of Educational Technology. And Ignacio, buenos dias.
Buenos días.
He is obviously in the Spanish department as well as in our technology department. And we have met Christy from theology, and then Coach Chris Crosby is our athletic director. So thank you all for being here tonight, and each one of them, for the most part, has an item on the agenda to talk this evening. And so right now I would like to bring Mrs. Hightower to the microphone. And I tell you, it's exciting to have this new position. And through funding from our federal government, we received quite a bit amount of funding because of COVID-19 in the area of technology. And so we felt it best so that we utilized this money to the best that we could. We needed somebody who really had the intelligence and the skill and the expertise and the vision to be able to show us what we needed to do and where we need to go. And it's exciting to have Becca here to talk to us about where we're headed in the world of technology. So, Becca.
That was quite an introduction, so I'm blushing. I'm going to share with you a little bit about technology tonight. Your students are juniors, so they've had Chromebooks since they were freshmen. We do ask that they keep their Chromebooks in the case that we give them originally. Let's not, take the case off. If you see your student doesn't have a case on their Chromebook, make sure that they get it back on. We're seeing a lot of damage occur to Chromebooks because the students, they don't want the generic case on their Chromebook, and so they're taking it off, and then they'll just throw the Chromebook right in their backpack with all of their books, and we're seeing damaged screens or screens that just go black, or keyboards stop working. Those cases, they'll absorb some of that impact from your backpack with all of the books and everything like that on it. And they've also signed an agreement that they will keep the case on the Chromebook as well. That's in our Chromebook agreement. Talking about permissions and monitoring, we use a email filtering system called GoGuardian, and it's not only on their email, it's on all of the Chromebook. And so we filter for a lot of different things throughout the school day and while they're at home. And we might get alerts on anything from bullying to pornography to self-harm, if those are types of things that your student is searching or typing into a Google Doc or messaging to someone else. It sends us alerts so that we can help keep them safe and have a conversation with them about appropriate and ethical behavior through technology. Let's talk about Canvas for a little bit. Last year, Mount St. Mary adopted Canvas as our learning management platform for students to get assignments or learning activities through Canvas. And there is a way for parents to sign up as an observer within Canvas. So currently you may be signing in as your student, or maybe you're just not checking Canvas at all. If you go to the next slide. Slide. Thank you. I have a tutorial that I sent out in the weekly rocket launch that talks about how to pair an observer account with your particular student. And so we're going to take a look at that video right now so that you guys can create an account and then also pair it. If you want to make it full screen. Doesn't like us today? I might be helping the technology director. Maybe it likes us, maybe it doesn't. It's black. Oh. Yeah, we're gonna send that in an email. We're just gonna, it's a nice long video of me just talking you through the process. So I'm sure you guys all want to watch that right now anyway. I don't. So I hate hearing myself. Like, anybody else? No? Okay. So it not only does it show you how to pair yourself with one student, if you have multiple students, towards the end of the video, it takes you through the process of adding additional students.
Nancy Mary's parents.
Now it gets to work.
All of our students use Canvas, and I'm going to show you how to set up a parent observer account. So they will be able to monitor what's going on.
Okay. I love it when technology works, and I also love it when it doesn't work, you know, just going through that productive struggle, because we've all been there, right? So towards the end, I said it shows you how to pair if you have multiple students. Canvas is going to be the place where you want to go to see the virtual assignments, digital assignments that your student is being assigned. It allows you to see interactions between your student and the teacher, not your student and other students. And so when other parents log into accounts, they won't be able to see your student's view, if that makes sense. So there's like a gradebook portion where you'll only see your student's information. If there's a discussion board, you'll only see the things that your student is commenting on the discussion board. You're not going to see the things that other students are, putting on there as well for certain privacy reasons. You do want to use Canvas as the place for just checking on how they're doing. Are you submitting your assignments? Are you keeping up with your work? Or do you need additional support from mom and dad to, get your life together? I have a child that uses Canvas as well, and that's how I primarily use it. So even though there could be grades in Canvas, what the final grade is in Canvas is not necessarily going to be that student's final grade, because PowerSchool, our student information system, is where that final grade is going to live. And so those grades that are in Canvas will be in PowerSchool, but there will probably be additional grades in PowerSchool that will not be in Canvas from in-class activities or additional things like that. So use Canvas to check in on them and say, hey, I see that you are missing quiz 2.4 in English. You need to talk with your teacher and see if you can make that up, or why haven't you made that up, to help them in that sort of way. But you're going to check for final grades in PowerSchool. Also in PowerSchool, we have a number of forms for you to complete if you have not done so already. There are forms like our, I'm drawing a blank on all of them, the handbook, yes. There's one for theology retreats as well, the Chromebook form. There's just a number of forms that need parent signatures and things like that. And so if you log into your PowerSchool account, and on the left-hand side under forms, you will go in there and you will see the forms that need to be completed. And also, if you guys ever have any technology questions or needs, feel free to email me. I am bhightower@mountstmary.org. That's all I got.
Any questions about technology? Please feel free to interrupt us at any time should you have any particular questions pertaining to the subject that we are discussing. And yes, Beth.
Are all faculty members using Canvas as the platform in all classes?
Yes.
Okay.
They should be.
Okay.
All right? They are expected to.
Okay.
Okay? So if you have any questions or issues, email directly the teacher and find out what it is that both of you need to do in order for you to gain the information that you need.
Okay. But this year, everyone.
We are expecting all teachers to be using one platform, and then from that one platform, Canvas, then they can send them to different locations on the internet, depending on the assignment. But it starts with Canvas. Okay? And that's a learning from our COVID experience last year, being a virtual school for a little while. We learned so much, so very much, in order to gain and be better, all right? And that was one learning platform, all right? I would like to introduce Joy Murphy. She is our Director of Alumni Relations, and she is here on behalf of the Advancement Department to talk with you just a few minutes, all right? Joy?
Thank you so much for your time this evening. I want to say I took a meeting with Toledo and the National Honor Society, and there were some juniors and seniors in that meeting. And so I'm a graduate, a proud graduate from here at Mount St. Mary of '98. So I come into the meeting with my pen and paper. All those kids had their Chromebooks out, and they were casting their notes, and it was just so interesting to see just really how it's done now this day. But I'm going to stick to my good old pen and paper. But again, my name is Joy Murphy. I work in the Advancement Department. There are 4 of us total, and we are here pictured. That handsome guy in the middle is Chris Stiles, and I like to joke that he's so good at his job that other schools, other Catholic schools within the country hire him. He was actually in Miami this week helping them with a capital campaign opportunity, and he's unfortunately not able to be here tonight, but I'm sure many of you recognize this guy in the middle as Chris Stiles. We also have our Director of Operations to his right, Carolyn Jeffries, and Tanya Averett, who is here with us this evening in the back as well, and all to the far right is our Special Events Director. And we just want to speak with you a little bit, let you know what advancement is all about. I do want to mention that between Chris, Carolyn, and Tanya, they have 6 Mount graduates, so they are proud Mount alumni parents as well. First to know is we're not going to make you sell chocolate bars. We're not going to make you sell, give me some other things, popcorn. What if you guys had a sell at the feeder schools leading into here? We do not do fundraiser efforts here. We do an excellent job of raising money through our endowment opportunities, our capital campaign opportunities. And we do have a big push. It'll be in April of next year called our Week of Giving to raise money for the Mount Fund. So no fundraisers here, but we do ask you to participate in a few items, and I'm going to go through some of those. One of the first things that you can do that's very helpful if you haven't done so already is to go onto your Amazon account. For those who are not familiar, Amazon partners with Smile, and essentially if you sign up as Mount St. Mary Catholic High School as your designated Smile account, 0.5% of every single purchase you make online comes back to Mount St. Mary Catholic High School. It is very easy to sign up, and it is a very easy way for all of you to help us raise much needed funds here. Again, that's 0.5% of every single purchase you make. With the holidays coming, that certainly adds up very quickly. So we'd all appreciate if you take just a few minutes of your time, especially tonight, and sign up on your Amazon Smile account. One of the events that we'd love to host is our Magic at the Mount Gala, and we are so excited that we are hosting it at a new venue. Not only are we hosting it at a new venue, we're hosting it on Valentine's weekend at the Omni downtown. It is our fun gala. It is a great event. I'm sure many of you have attended before. We're very excited about that, so everyone please save the date. It's February 12th, again, Valentine's Day weekend. Our next event that we love to promote is our Pete Cordova Golf Classic. It's held at Jimmy Austin. It's always the second Tuesday in June. This year it'll be held on June 14th, so please mark your calendars. And for the non-golfers in the room, we host a wonderful event called the Social Patio, in which you can come out and hang with the golfers all day and enjoy the social aspect of the tournament. So it is a fun event, and that is really a great event for our alumni. We raise a lot of money for the Alumni Association, so we certainly would appreciate your support. And finally, I'm so excited about this one. This is our after party. I know that there is a dance this Friday, so once you drop the kids off at the dance, you can head just literally down the street to the brewery. Down the street, it's called the Big Friendly. For those of you who have not visited the Wheeler Park District, it's an amazing, amazing part of Oklahoma City. They have a brewery there. They're going to name a beer after us. They are. I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but that's coming. Anyway, after all the home games this September, they open up, and they stay open an hour late just for Mount St. Mary people. So please come down, visit us. We'll hand out some free t-shirts, but that is a fun event for all the adults in the room. So with that said, it's short and sweet. I'm sure many of you are very familiar with our advancement department here at Mount St. Mary Catholic High School, but should you have any questions, please feel free to reach out anytime. If you are interested in volunteering for our Magic at the Mount Gala, again, that's in February at the Omni Hotel, please visit with Tanya Averett. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities there, and we would love to chat with you after this event tonight. So without further ado, it is now my pleasure to introduce someone who truly loves his job. I love seeing him out on the football field and in the basketball gym, our athletic director, Chris Crosby.
Hello everyone, again my name is Chris Crosby. I'm the athletic director here at Mount St. Mary. First of all, obviously all of our extracurricular activities, including our athletic programs, are very important to our alumni here at the Mount and our current athletes and our current people that are in speech and debate, band, all of our other different drama, one-act play, it goes on and on and on. But a large percentage of our student population are involved in extracurricular activities. These activities are ones that I'm actually responsible for that are governed by the Oklahoma Secondary School Activities Association, and we follow their guidelines, and they're the ones that put on wonderful events for us and state tournament competitions for all the various groups and organizations. Today we'll talk a little bit about eligibility. There are two types of eligibility that we have here. One is athletic eligibility and one is academic eligibility. Athletic eligibility does affect you all in this room, or it could. Any student that transfers in here from another high school and has participated in athletics at that previous high school has established their eligibility at that school. So if they come here and participate in any of these events, then we have a situation that we need to try to address. And we have to do that if there are some extenuating circumstances and they're not become eligible here by rule, then we have to apply for hardship, and we have to meet certain criteria, which then will allow them to participate at the varsity level. If they do not get that acceptance with their hardship, then they can still participate in that particular activity, but they cannot participate at the varsity level for a calendar year from their first day of attendance here, okay? So far this year, we've applied 5 times, and we've been successful 3, which is pretty good batting average for us. So anyway, that is that eligibility. The academic eligibility just began this week, and some of you in this room have probably already got a phone call, an email, or whatever from a particular coach if your child is involved. And that is, we have if you don't, no pass, no play rule. Just the association has it. It's obviously very, very important to us here too, as a preparatory high school. But what happens is if the student, we run eligibility on Mondays. This was the first week we ran eligibility. We had to run it on a Tuesday because it was Labor Day. But normally we run them on Monday morning of every week. We don't start it till 3 full weeks into the year, which we're at that point now. So this time we'll run it every single week now on Mondays. And in most schools, we'll run it the previous Thursday or Friday. We wait until Monday. So it gives the teachers an opportunity to grade papers, and it's a lot cleaner for us. And then when that eligibility comes in on Monday, usually it's real, it's correct. For some reason, it is not etched in stone. If something went wrong, and we're all human, the teacher did not grade something or whatever, and we identify that, we'll go back and we can correct that, but we're not going to give anybody anything that they haven't deserved, okay? It's a D and an F list, though. It's not just a failure list. So we get D, it can be on the D and the F list, and that is the reason for that is that it helps you. We flag kids that are struggling. So that's the purpose of putting the D along with the F list. If they do get turned in with an F, that week from Monday through Sunday, they are on probation. What probation means is they can't participate still, but if they're in a tournament or whatever, they cannot miss the class they're failing. Okay? They can still participate, but they cannot miss the class that particular week that they are failing. Obviously, they need to be in that class where they need to be participating, or they wouldn't have an F. Okay? The next Monday comes. If they are failing again, and it does not have to be the same class, it can be a different class. If they fail 2 weeks in a row, as of that day on Monday, they are ineligible to participate in competitions. It's up to the coach. If the coach allows them to practice that week, they can practice, but they can't travel, and they can't participate. They can't suit up, and they can't participate. They have to sit in the stands like a spectator. They can't be on the sidelines, they can't be on the bench, whatever, in the dugout, whatever it may be, okay? So that's our eligibility rule. Then the next week, they're not on, we start over. It's completely erased. Then we can go back, if it happens again, go on probation, the whole cycle starts over again. Is that clear? Does that make sense? Okay. And then the next thing is transportation. We expect our athletes or our kids that participate in our activities to ride the bus to the event. They're our responsibility. We'll get them to the event. After the event, if that coach has a policy that allows it, you can go to that coach in person and say, I'm taking my child and I'm driving them home. I'm not driving my child and Sharon's son, Billy over here, he's not riding with me. You're going to take your own child, that's it, okay? But that way you'll have permission to bring yours home. But we're going to ride together. Some coaches want them to ride home. There's been a time or two when I coached, I was a little bit irritated, and I didn't like the chemistry we had, and I just said, no, everybody's riding home on the bus. That's the way it was, okay? So coaches can have their own policies, they can have their own situations, they can handle it the way they want to handle it, but we all ride together too. Now there could be a extenuating circumstance to where a student has a doctor's appointment they couldn't get out of or whatever it may be, and then we'll make this as a special situation and we'll deal with that individually, okay? And the last thing is multi-sport. We encourage our kids to play multi-sports. We're so small, most of our kids participate in more than one activity. They only get to do this once, people, so we want to allow them to have as much experiences as they can have. And when they get to be juniors or seniors, some of them decide, man, I don't like that anymore. They just want to do one thing, that's okay. But we want it to be the student's decision and not pressure from anybody on our side, okay? If you hear of any of that going on with your child and they're being pressured, please email me and let me know so I can help protect your kid and take that pressure off of them so that they can make their own decision, okay? That's all I have. Questions? Thank you.
All right, I would like to ask Mrs. Dawn Williams to come to the front. And as I was saying earlier, I was telling you about the funding that we received. I hope your students have come back to you and spoken to you, shared with you about our new Student Resource Center. We moved the counselors into our library, the former library, and we put up walls and we put up a beautiful conference room and welcoming center, and the counselors have told me that there is now so much more visibility for them and so many more students within their area because now they are right in the center of the main hallway on the first floor as opposed to the second floor. So it's been exciting to see this new area, and now they get to decorate it. So here are Mallory and Donna.
Good evening. I'm Donna Williams. I again have the M through Z, and I work with the international students.
And I'm Mallory Techmeyer, and I have A through L last names.
Okay. We're going to talk to you about the life of a junior and what they need to be doing to get ready, because as Mrs. DeNickery said, they really don't have that much more time before they have to start thinking and making decisions as far as colleges and things like that. One thing we stress is that academic preparation. Colleges are going to look for the rigor of the curriculum. They're going to look at a student's transcript. They're going to look at GPA. They're going to look at class rank. Some schools will talk about testing and that too. But that's what they're here for, is to get the education, to get that academic preparation. We strongly encourage appropriate placement. We want our students to be challenged but not frustrated. Mrs. Dow will talk about the MAPS testing and how that plays a role into how students are placed in their classes. But yeah, rigor is important. And your students will have the opportunity to take AP classes or dual credit classes. Now as juniors, we have teachers that have their masters in their curricular area. And we have partnered with Newman University out of Wichita, Kansas, so that we can offer those classes as for college credit. We have 21 AP classes and we have 10 dual credit classes where students can earn that college credit before they go off to college, before they leave high school. And statistics and research show that students that have that college credit upon leaving high school do better in college because they know the expectation and the rigor of a college level class. So AP classes, if your child is in an AP class, they should have gotten into College Board. They should have a College Board account, and their teachers should have gotten them into the AP classroom, where the teachers are providing resources, quizzes, tests, everything that student is going to need to help them do well when that test comes up those first 2 weeks of May. As the AP tests, the last couple of years have been digital, online. Students have been at home. Some of them have been here. We've had some paper pencil. This spring, they're all going to be paper pencil here at school, as of now, okay? So all the students will be testing here. Your child needs to go into their My AP account and make the decision whether or not they're going to take that AP test by October 1st, okay? So they have to make that decision. So then what I will do is I will create an AP registration, like an invoice, for each student that's registered for an AP test. I will give that to that student. It's their responsibility to bring it home to you. There's different ways that they can pay for that. You can write a check. It's $96 per test. If a student qualifies for free and reduced lunches, it's $53 per test. But you write the check, or you can pay online, and send me an email confirmation of that payment. And then the student needs to bring back that registration form. I'm a paper person. I like to keep my records and that, so I know and that. If I don't get that invoice registration form back with any payment, I'm going to change their decision of yes to a no. Okay. So, and I'll try to get a hold of them and talk to them. But so if your child's in an AP class, please talk to them and help them as far as that decision by October 1st. The payment won't be due until probably, I'm thinking like October 22nd, and that toward the end of the month, to give you guys enough time to get that payment in. Somebody had a question. It's $96 per test, or $53 if the student qualifies for free and reduced lunches. Okay? Now, the dual credit. These are the classes that are offered through Newman University. We have 10 of them. Your students may be in AP US History with Mr. Winterroad, or they may be in World Civilization with Mr. Carey, or I'm just trying to think, they could be in Heritage of Western Music. One of those classes where the teacher has their master's, or chemistry possibly with Mr. No, they've been taking chemistry already. They have the opportunity to take chemistry as a senior with Mr. Tierney. But, yes, sir.
Is that AP chemistry or honors chemistry? Because the juniors are taking honors chemistry at the moment.
Okay, it's the AP chemistry that you'll take as a senior with Mr. Tierney. And that's when you can earn 4 credits per semester. The Spanish language, Spanish literature, or other classes. Anyway, the registration for those Newman classes is this Saturday. And so if your student is in a dual credit class, again, they can come in if they need help from me. I've told those kids and I've asked the teachers to talk to them. It's very easy to get the registration through Newman's website. You go in, you register for the class. The last thing you do is when you're checking out, that's when the student creates the account. If the student's already taken a class, which most juniors wouldn't have done, they'll use that same account, or they'll use that same account if they take a class second semester. Okay? The cost for the Newman classes, it's $75 per credit hour, so it's a 3 credit class, it's $225. If it's a 4 credit class, it's $300. If a student qualifies for free and reduced lunches, I believe it's $35 a credit hour. Okay, and the student needs to see me in order to get that code for the reduced fee. Okay? Yes.
The dual credit classes, are those only seniors or juniors?
It's juniors and seniors qualify, and the student has to have a 3.0 unweighted GPA in order to be able to take the class. Okay, yes.
Well, I know that last time we came home this week, and I think you signed up for English with Newman. I think he told me that if he gets an A class, he doesn't have to take the test.
Yeah, and I talked to the kids that they have the option of taking the AP test or the Newman credit. They need to start looking at the colleges they're interested in to see what the transfer policy for AP is and what the transfer policy is for like a dual credit class, because every college is going to be different. But the Newman credit is the grade they earn in the class for that semester is the grade that goes on the Newman University transcript. The AP is one test, one day, and that. And if it depends on the score. They have to have a 3 for most tests, 3, 4, or 5 will earn their credit, but that also depends on the college.
So depending on college, they may not take credit unless you the test, and they go to the score.
The AP credit, you have to take the test. The Newman credit, there's no test. It's the grade that they earn that semester. So if they get an A in the class for the semester, the A goes on the Newman transcript. That's the transcript that they then ask for the Newman University to send to OU, OSU.
That's only for Newman.
Yes, that's Newman.
Okay, so you really have to take the test unless you're going to Newman.
That credit will transfer anywhere. There's actually a tab that I showed the kids that up on the registration form where you can click on it. If they're interested in Oklahoma school, they can put in the American History 1, and they can see all the schools in Oklahoma or any place in the United States that will take that credit. Now, there are some schools that aren't listed, but they list some of the sciences, so my guess is that they're basing that list off of students that have already transferred that credit so that they know that it transfers. I told the kids also, if they have any questions, again, check the transfer policy, but also communicate with the rep, and that if they can get contact with them, find out what that, or the registrar's office at those schools, see what that policy is, okay? And if you have questions, call me, okay? Okay, any questions on AP or dual credit?
I was also going to mention, whenever students take AP test, if they score a 5 on that test, that may get them more credit than what just the class is taking. For example, if a student scores well in AP Spanish, they're going to get like 19 credit hours at OU on the AP test.
Or they'd only get 4 credits if they took the Newman credit. Like for AP US History, if they get a 4 or 5 on the AP test, that's 6 credits that they get through OU for those scores. But again, it's 1 test, 1 day, and that. So
we recommend having the student talk with the teacher, and if they really need to, talk with the teacher and see how comfortable they feel and how well they're going to do on the AP exam. I was also going to mention something else. I remember. At the end of junior year, when your students are registering for their senior year, they will actually sit down with Mrs. Williams or I, depending on their alphabet, and enroll for senior year. So if you're thinking like, oh, I wish my student would have done this, or maybe not this year, but next year, we'll have an opportunity to sit down with you and your student in person and enroll them for their senior year and talk about all of these options as well, and what what may be a good fit for them.
And we'll do that probably end of January, February, where you'll set up those meetings with us, and we'll meet with you and talk about one to make sure they're going to meet graduation requirements, talk about their future plans, and so everything is kind of coming together for them as we start looking at classes.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit just about the post-secondary search. I teach a college prep class, so I will tell the seniors, hopefully they're doing it, but hopefully the juniors are doing it. Now's the time really to start looking into what's going to happen after high school, and I think that's weird for them because they don't even know what they're going to eat for breakfast tomorrow. So they just don't really think about it. But now's the time because really college applications open up August of their senior year. So it's quick. It's just less than a year away. And so we really want the students to feel prepared. We have been trying to post in the Parent Weekly all kinds of information. We used to send out a counselor corner. I forget to send it out, so I've just been putting information in Toledo's Parent Weekly, and hopefully that's helpful. One thing that COVID did was make everyone really good at virtual things, and so there's a lot of really, really great information sessions on a variety of different colleges taking place, especially this fall. So check those out, attend those. I know there's one big one coming up with all the military academies. And so there's just some really great schools that are trying to reach students that maybe they couldn't reach before because, they couldn't get to Oklahoma or Oklahoma City. So hopefully the students are taking the initiative to look into the schools, even if it's a visit on a campus. The students get a lot of days off this month. In the next couple of months, we have some professional days and teacher in-service days. So hopefully the students will take advantage of those days and go visit some colleges. Juniors and seniors also get, is it 1 day for juniors? 2? 1? I think it's 1 for you. Okay, 2. We'll say 2. Juniors get 2 free days to go visit colleges. So if you are traveling maybe for vacation, you can take an extra Monday or that Friday and go visit a school. That would be an excused absence. So we encourage the student to do that. Get on campus, see what they like, and have it be something they like. In the college admission world, they're always talking about finding the good fit for that student. Not where mom and dad went or grandma or boyfriend or girlfriend, but for that student. And so we want the students to kind of start thinking about that, looking into schools, and the best way to do that is to get on campus. Another thing we want to mention is the military academies. If a student is interested in that, now's the time to really start that process. There's a lot of things they have to do, so making them aware of that. We tell the seniors, we tell all of the students, every single student has a different path, and how wonderful that is. And so some students may take a gap year, some students may be going off to Harvard, Yale, Princeton. Some students may, be going to a school to fit their special needs, or some may be playing athletics in college. And so trying to help the students maneuver those, because there is a path for every single one of them, and it's going to look different than their friend or their best friend. So we try to get that message across.
Okay, I'm going to talk about our favorite subject of testing. ACT and SAT for our juniors. Have we made a decision on? Did they take both of them? Okay, so our class of 2023 will take both the ACT and the SAT. Okay. Many schools right now are test optional, but we encourage the kids as they take those tests. If they want to send their scores to a school, they can. If they don't have to. They can wait and see what that score is. Some schools, we tell the students that if you get a score that's going to support your application, then you're going to want to send it. If not, maybe look at retesting. And that ACT, the October test, we encourage the kids to get maybe a test this fall, October or December. The October deadline for the October test to register is September 17th. We offer it here at the Mount. We offer the December test, we offer the February test, and the April test here. The only SAT that we're going to offer at the Mount is October 2nd and that. So that will be the only time that we offer the SAT. So if they're looking at that, wanting to test at the Mount next fall, look at possibly looking at one of those for that fall date, okay? They will take the PSAT October 13th. This is the test of record for national merit for our juniors, okay? They took it last spring because everything kind of got pushed back with COVID and we were closed, and then I think we had an ice storm. I think I ordered the test like 3 or 4 times. But yeah, so they'll test again October 13th. As a test of record for national merit. So make sure that they're doing some prep, make sure they're getting ready for that. The ASVAB is the military vocational battery exam. And what the ASVAB does is your child does not have to might be interested in the military. The ASVAB is a good one to see kind of where their strengths are, but also where those career interests are. So what we'll do is we'll advertise that. Students can sign up for it. We'll connect with a recruiter and set up a date. They'll test here. If it's online, it's a shorter version. It doesn't take as long. If it's a paper pencil, it takes probably about 3 hours, okay? So if you want your child, if your child's kind of floundering, doesn't know what they want to do, the ASVAB could be a good tool to maybe give them a little bit of direction. And I always tell the kids, after you take that, if you get a recruiter calling you, kind of hounding you, let me know, because I will call them and I have. So, okay.
We also have some, oh, go ahead.
Just so I understand, is this PSAT as important as the top two, or is it just for the school?
So the PSAT is kind of a pre-test for the SAT, but it's also the test that the National Merit Scholarship Competition uses. And National Merit basically is, if you score well on it, it's like the top students in the country. It just opens up scholarship opportunities for them. So the PSAT is linked to the SAT, but the test that you need for college admission is going to be either the ACT or the SAT. And we also have some practice tests in our office too. The students can also take their scores from last spring and link it to their College Board account, and it'll create a practice test for them as well. So I know that's what they all want to do in their free time, is practice for the PSAT. But if their score, if their selection index score was anywhere around a 180, 190, 200, then last year they need to be practicing, doing some practice. And we can, if you don't know what their score was, we can look that up or help you find it. I was also going to mention Oklahoma Promise. This is a scholarship for students in Oklahoma whose family makes $60,000 or less. You used to had to have applied by sophomore year, but they've actually upped that to junior year. So if your family falls under that category, please make sure that your student is applying for Oklahoma Promise. Essentially, that gets them in-state tuition to an Oklahoma school. You still have to pay for fees and books, but any in-state tuition. So you definitely don't want to pass up on that opportunity. And we have flyers over at the snack table for ACT test dates and Oklahoma Promise information. And then also National Honor Society invitations. Last sophomore year, students that had a 3.5 weighted GPA or higher were sent an invitation to apply for the National Honor Society, and that same thing happens again junior year. So if your student didn't have the GPA, or maybe they applied but didn't get in, Mrs. Denegri and Mrs. Dow strongly encourage that your student apply again. It's a great service opportunity, just a great way to get involved in the school, and we definitely want them to take advantage of that. And then the last thing that we kind of wanted to talk about just is getting involved. Donna and I listen in on lots of webinars of trying to stay up to date with the latest in college admission, and we're finding that because so many schools are going test optional, that's taking one piece out of the college application, and they're having to build up other things in their application. And so getting involved on campus, in school or out of school, we want to make sure that the students are taking advantage of extracurricular activities. Obviously, we want them to be a well-rounded student, and that includes getting service opportunities in, which has kind of been hard the last couple of years, but really taking advantage of any opportunities that they can. We try to send out information about team boards, volunteer experiences, or opportunities as much as we can, and hopefully they read them, hopefully you guys read them, and we'll take advantage of that. Most of our club meetings happen before and after school. Mr. Shilley and I are the student council sponsors, and we welcome anyone and everyone. They don't have to be in an elected position to come to student council, so come on in and get involved in the school in that way. We have a lot going on this month, and we would love the help, right, Mr. Shilley? Homecoming week is coming up. You guys hope will receive information soon. We're doing something we've never done before with Homecoming week. The student council is partnering with National Honor Society, and we're having kind of a service component commitment to it, where we're raising money for a specific organization that we'll announce soon. So we're really excited about that. We will have a homecoming work day September 19th from 2 to 4, and this is a school-wide opportunity for everybody to come decorate the school, deck it out in white and blue, and really just have a fun time. So hopefully you can encourage your student to come to that. And then junior class is also in charge of prom, which they're really excited about. We don't have a date set yet, but that is something that the juniors will be doing. And again, really, it doesn't have to be an officer. Anybody can help with that, and then I'm sure they'd love some parent help as well. So as soon as they get the date set, Mr. Carey and Ms. Zacher are the junior class sponsors, so they will get that information to you. I think that is all. This is like a record. Do you guys have any questions?
There's one.
Oh, hi.
Hi. So, I'm sorry, back to the ACT, SAT. When you're posting on site, is that on the school website about the exact dates and the registrations? Or could you give us one?
It's a national test date, so it'll be, if you go on ACT's website, we have to test on the national test dates. And then if you look in our mount calendar, it'll tell you if it's at the mount or if it's just ACT. It'll say at MSM if we're posting it here.
I can start putting the registration deadlines for ACT, SAT on the Parent Weekly, so that way you can have them as well. But they're national test dates, and so the students actually have to go in, create an account. It takes like 45 minutes to create an account. If your student has accommodations, if they have any kind of accommodations or they're in the PLUS program, then make sure and reach out to either Donna or I or Miss Holly or Mr. Alexander, so that way we can make sure they're getting those accommodations for the test too.
And if you have any questions about that, feel free to email us, call us. That's what we're here for. Anything. Yes.
You gonna schedule any academic period or test preps for the juniors?
We lost Mr. Wolfkill, who was our...
He moved.
Yeah, he went to Arizona with his wife, unfortunately. So we don't have anybody to take that place. As far as prep, we have Method Test Prep, which is an online prep program that we subscribe to. It's available to the students 24/7. If the students don't have an account, they can come and see me and I can give them the information to create it, or I can look them up and see if they've already got one. There's also multiple prep programs in the community. OCCC has one typically the Saturday before one of the test dates. It's $20 usually, and they spend the day there and they just go through the test and things that they need to do. But they're, like I said, so if you want resources for their prep that's out in the program, you can spend $20 to $1,000. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Yeah, and Method Test Prep, like I said, we pay for that, so that's free. And Method Test Prep says if a student works the program the way it's designed, they're supposed to raise their composite score 4 points. One thing with ACT also is, I don't know if you're aware, ACT started to super score, so it's to the student's advantage to take the test multiple times. Unless they go and pop up for perfect 36 or I think even something for 35. What a super score will do is they'll always take the highest score from each of the subtests and they'll create a super score. And so as your students look at colleges and things like that, one of the questions that we tell the kids to ask is, will you take a super score, okay? And so that they know, but like I said, it's to their advantage then to test multiple times. Any other questions?
Someone was saying that you could take the test twice a year on 2 different dates, and they would actually tell you what you missed. You get your answers.
There's something
so
called.
Where are those?
One of them is the December test. It's usually maybe the February test. You have to look when you register. It would give you the option to register for something called the Test Information Report. It's usually an extra $20. What they'll do is they'll send. So last year your students took the pre-ACT. we gave them their book back and then a score report with how they answered every question. So that's what this test information report will do. It will send them a book. It won't necessarily be their book. It'll be just a blank copy of the book from that test administration. And then how they answered every question, whether they got it right, whether they got it wrong, and then what the correct answer is. So that's a great way for the kids to be able to target or look at what they want to do for prep. We also have practice books in our office. Kids can come in and get those. We tell them if you have trouble with timing on a test, use it, time yourself, then score it, then go back and look at where the questions you missed, the questions you got right, and then go to, if it's science or English or math, whatever it is, go to that teacher and then say, help me with this. And so that's where they can also do some targeted prep.
You said the fall testing is going to be the best testing, the last that it should take for their application?
No, the schools will always take their highest score, okay?
So let's say they want to take it one more time right before they apply for the college, they should do it in the fall, like next fall.
It really depends. Some schools will take, even if they apply and get accepted, they'll take their test scores all the way up until they enroll. It just will depend on the school and when their scholarship deadline is. But we tell the students, find out when the application deadline is, find out when the scholarship deadline is, obviously their senior year, and take the test up until that point. For our state schools, it's typically late in the winter, like OSU is in February is the deadline. So it really just depends on the school. We had a student, we always use her as an example. She went to Oklahoma City University, and she took it the summer after she graduated because they took her test all the way up until literally she started school. So it just depends on the school. Ms. Denegri also wanted me to mention too, senior year, so next year the students will have the opportunity to participate in like VOTEC, MetroTech, Francis Tuttle if they're interested in that, and so making sure that they're meeting all of the graduation requirements and getting all their electives out of the way. Junior year, it will be important, and same if they want to participate in concurrent enrollment, which is kind of a whole other option of getting college credit. It's where they take classes at the community college. So we have lots of opportunities to gain a lot of credit in a high school, which is really, really fantastic. So, any other questions?
Good question.
Awesome. I think the next person up is Mrs. Dow, and she's going to talk about everyone's favorite, all the rules. No, not the rules. Academics. We still have academics. Denegri talks about the rules.
Okay, I just want to follow up on one thing about AP. If your kids who are taking AP classes, you need to make sure that they are ready to take the AP test. Even if they haven't signed up to take it, like in their minds, they have to be like mentally ready for it, okay? And the reason that I say that is because you don't want them to be like, oh, I don't have to take this, I'm gonna start slacking off, especially in the spring, because that will happen. Ideally, a student wouldn't make a passing grade in their AP class unless they were going to pass the test, right? So if a student makes an A or a B especially, then they should be prepared to make a 3 or a 4 or a 5 on the AP exam. So just make sure that you support your kids in that way, where they are like, mentally thinking that they could do it and that they stay engaged and they stay into it the entire school year. And then also, if you have students who are in an AP class, but they choose not to take the test, you should check with the colleges that they're interested in and just make sure that that doesn't make them any less competitive. Because a lot of colleges will look at courses and you can't really tell, like, based on a transcript, what happens in biology, or even what happens in an AP class. But there is that standardization. Everybody knows what a 3 means on an AP exam. So it does make them more competitive. Should I just, are we good without this? It was cutting in and out, right? Can you hear me? Is this good? Was it fine? Oh, okay. I thought it was cutting in and out. Okay, so anyway, you just want to make sure
that they stay competitive for scholarships and they stay competitive for potential universities. So make sure you dot your I's and you cross your T's and you check with universities about that stuff. Okay, so first off, most of what I'm going to talk about, you can find it in our curriculum guide. So you can find our curriculum guide either on the Mount website or you can go to this bit.ly link, and it gives you a lot of detailed information about all of our courses. The big thing is that students need 28 credits to graduate, all right? So now in public schools, I was just looking at what the state of Oklahoma requires. It is kind of given now, I told you.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it off for a minute and then maybe we'll come back to it. Okay, so in the state of Oklahoma now, students only need 23 credits to graduate. So I'm telling you that because we definitely hold our kids to a higher standard, all right? And if your students take 8 courses here for all 4 years, they'll end up with 32 credits. And if they take Oklahoma history on the road, they're gonna end up with 32.5 credits. So part of me is just trying to let you know you're getting your money's worth in sending your kids here. But there's just a lot of opportunity to take a lot of cool classes. So encourage your kids to take advantage of that. Junior year is really when their schedules start to open up and they can start to take more electives. And then senior year, they can really do all of the things that they love. They can follow their passions. So that's important. And that kind of leads me into telling you about the diplomas of distinction. So we started a new program. We actually announced it at the end of last year. This will be the first year that we offer this. Basically, there are 10 different tracks that students can kind of specialize in while they're here. So they can do everything from fine arts, so they can do performing arts or instrumental music. They can do STEM. They have 10 different tracks that they can choose from. They can do a humanities focus if they're really into languages and into English. There's an option for them there. There's even an athletics track. I can't remember what all of the requirements are for that, but it involves a really cool internship where basically they're following our trainer here, Whitney Padgett, and learning about how to treat athletic injuries and things. So anyway, if you have students who are really into something, you might check out the diplomas of distinction and see if they want to opt into one of those. There's not any kind of extra charge. If your student signs up for it and then they decide that they don't want to do it, they can always drop it. But it's a way that we are trying to, help kids who know that they love something. We're trying to help provide them with a track to make sure that they are taking all the classes that are pertinent to that. And then also we want to reward those kids who have really passionately followed things and really become kind of high school level experts in something. All of the diplomas of distinction students have to complete a capstone. So there will be a project that comes along with that and a TED Talk style presentation that they do in the spring. So it really is something that will look good on resumes. Again, we've just launched this to support our students and to help give them the skills that they need to be successful in college. So if you have any questions about that, you can ask me about the programs, or to sign up, you need to contact the counselors and they will enroll your kids in the Diploma of Distinction of your choice. Do you have questions about either of those things, credits or the Diplomas of Distinction? Okay, we have the next slide. Do I have control of that? No, okay. All right, and then just putting, as we like to say around here, a bug in your ear, kind of a gross description, but you know. So putting a bug in your ear about making sure that your students don't have any unresolved Fs or no credits on the transcript. Because if they do, they won't be able to participate in graduation activities, okay? So if you have a student who had a rough time in a course, and let's be real here, we're coming out of COVID, and it has been a rough time for a lot of kids. So if you have a student who has an NC or an F, you just need to make sure that they're being proactive about resolving that. And there are a couple of options. They can take online classes with BYU.
During the summer, we can enroll them in classes with MESA, which is the Mercy Education System of America. You know, we're a Mercy school. So they have some options for resolving that credit, but we just need to make sure that it gets done. That way it's not hanging over their head senior year, and they're not trying to resolve that and it being a competition between like, am I gonna be able to walk or will I not be able to? Because if it is unresolved, we hold firm to that. We don't let them participate in graduation activities. So that's another way that we really do hold Mount students to a higher standard. Okay, map testing. So some of you, if you have other students, like if you have other kids who are in other schools, like our feeder schools, then you probably are somewhat familiar with map testing. Last year we tested our freshmen and our sophomores, and this year we are testing all of the students in the building. This just really helps us get an internal gauge in how much our students are growing while they are with us, okay? So it's not something that colleges see. It's not something that you need to put on their resume or their transcript or that kind of thing. It really is more for internal purposes. This year, we have purchased an online math and reading program that will import student map scores and then basically have a supplemental curriculum, so like some extra stuff that students do in class that really helps target their weaknesses and help them build up those skills so that they become strengths. Okay, so if your students took the map test and they didn't take it seriously at all and they scored at like the 3rd grade level, not that any of your darling children did that, but if they did, you know, then their supplemental curriculum is not going to be helpful to them. You know, so that rarely happens. For the most part, people do take it seriously, but you might just help me out by reiterating to your kids that we actually do use this information. And then we also use it for placing students in courses. So they have to have certain map scores it started this last year. They have to have certain map scores to be eligible for our honors classes. Okay? So the way that you will see your students' map scores is sometime in the next 2 weeks, I will share a folder with you, a Google folder. And in order to open the Google folder, you do have to have a Gmail account. So I'm going to send you an email that has instructions and the whole reason why. There's an FAQ that you can read through. But basically that's because when I'm sharing the account, I'm sharing it with specific people. Does that make sense? So I'm not just going to make it public so that anybody can open this and see your kids' information. So for that reason, you have to have a Gmail account to open it. But you'll open up the folder and you'll see things like your students' 4-year plan. So it will have the classes that they've already taken, and it will have their basically projected courses for next year. It will have their map scores in it. It just is kind of like a place for us to put their data. And then the counselors are going to start using them to help keep track of things for college prep as well. So you will get that in an email from me, and I will send you instructions about how to look at it and all of that kind of stuff. And always feel free to reach out to me if you have questions.
Are those map scores, are those the only way to get into like higher level classes, or can we still do things like teacher recommendations?
It's both, but last year we did this. Last year we did teacher recs and map scores, and it was basically like perfectly aligned. I mean, like teachers weren't recommending kids who probably weren't doing well in map, and if they did, it was like 1 or 2 kids and we talked about it. And then kids can always waiver into courses. So if they don't have a teacher recommendation, if they don't have the map scores for it, but they really want to take something, then they can come talk to us, and we basically allow them to waiver into things if they feel like, man, I just really need to take that AP Calculus AB. I just think like, bless you, child, yes. Like, we will support you if you feel really passionate about this. Do you have any questions about this? Map testing, Google folders. We're getting really techy. It's super exciting. Do I have anything else I'm talking about? No. Okay. Gonna hand it off to Ms. Denegri.
Hey, all right. So now what I'd like to do is go over just a few of the changes that we have made in regards to our policies. So regarding cell phone policies, we are no longer giving the students an opportunity to buy their way out of punishment. Because y'all are the ones giving them the money, right? Most of you are. Thank you for being with us. Thank you. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to impact their social lives. We're going to, when we take away their phone, because they're using it without permission, and I will say, don't some teachers allow you to use your phones? Exactly, yes, and that's appropriate. That is super okay. And so when they have that permission, this is not a part of this. This is when they do not have permission and they are abusing the policy. We used to charge them $10 or sit detention. We're no longer doing that. I told you a few seconds ago, we're going to impact their personal lives. They're going to sit for 2 hours of detention after school. And let me tell you folks, they don't like it. So we know that it's working, all right? So that is one change in our policy. Any questions on the phones? Okay, attendance policy. If you'll remember, because of COVID, we did extend or expand the number allowed. We upped it to 14 absences per class because they were allowed 7 per class. For this year, we've gone back down to 7. Right? Now, in the event that something does happen, God forbid the bottom falls out again, we're ready for it. But in that event, then of course we would change and we would give an exemption to the students. They would be considered excused if it's COVID related. Okay? Somebody has an ACL tear, has surgery, somebody has mono, again, we give exemptions based on the communication and the circumstances with the family, with the student. Okay? All we ask is that you communicate with us. Now, speaking of attendance, senior year. Senior year. Some of my alums who are in the room will understand when I say this. Senior year is the privilege for lunch off campus. I actually have families of juniors who are calling in once a week to get their student out, their junior, out for lunch. Please don't do that. Please. Let's all work together for the sake of honoring the senior privilege. They will have that opportunity. Our juniors will have that opportunity. Now, if it's a birthday, absolutely, I'm all for that. You guys come and get them, right? And you all go and celebrate. Grandparents are here from out of town and you haven't seen them in over a year. Go. I think that's a beautiful celebration. Let it be a special moment instead of taking advantage of the policy. Alright, so I did want to say that because it is a senior privilege and let's honor that together. Okay? Our drug testing, we just finished it last week. And we did it a little bit differently, and let me tell you why. When we looked at the data of Mount St. Mary over the last 5 years, it really is pretty darn good. The drug testing program that we implemented 17 years ago, it's working. Now, it's not perfect, please don't get me wrong. Our kids are not perfect, but they sure are awesome kids. And we implemented the program to help them to make decisions, help them use their school as an excuse when they do get into that tender, sensitive opportunity. It's there, those threats are there. So in talking with the lab, CRG, the director there, we looked at the data, and the data shows that the majority of our positives over the last 5 years are from marijuana. The majority of our positives did not come from the hair test, which can go back up to 90 days. The majority of our positives came from urine testing, which only goes back up to about 10 days. So therefore, in looking at how to improve our testing and not make it so invasive with urine, with cutting of the hair, we're looking at new technology. And many of you are already aware of it. It's the mouth swab under the tongue. For a couple of seconds, all the kids, all 400 of our kids came in here, and within 3.5 hours, last week we got it done. Usually it takes 3 days when it was the hair collection. And we get the results that much quicker. With the mouth swab, we can see activity up to about 5 to 7 days, depending on the drug. Right? So the data spoke to the need for making a change. And it's better, less invasive, and it's quicker. Right? So now, with that, we will still continue the monthly testing. We will still do the mouth swab, in addition to possibly the hair collection. I'm still talking with Jim Tedrow, the director. We're not sure if we need to do that. I want to have some more conversations with him. But definitely monthly testing using the mouth swab. Any questions on that? Keep in mind, it still is the same. If your student shows up positive, you are contacted first before the school is. Okay? And then we will communicate together, looking at how to help the family. Not how to kick him out or her out, but how to help the family to get what they need in order for the student, the child, to make better decisions. Okay? All right. School uniforms. Any questions on school uniforms? We no longer will sell them here in the building on campus. We've partnered since last year with a company that seems to be doing rather well with giving you what you need. Any questions there? Okay. Lunch detention, we still hold our lunch detention, and the kids hate it. Because again, it impacts them personally. And it's for things as tuck your shirt in, tardiness, excessive tardiness. The teachers can put the students in lunch detention. And we still have in-school suspension. The difference between out-of-school suspension and in-school suspension, ISS, the students are not counted absent and they can make up all their work. Out-of-school detention, the students are counted absent and they cannot make up their daily work. Major tests, major projects, of course, yes, they can make it. Okay.
Are parents notified when their kids are in detention?
In detention? No. But you can always ask for a disciplinary alert. Okay. Now, you're notified if the student goes into ISS. All right? Okay. So, school security, just want to let you know that we still have our expectations of everyone coming in through the main front doors. The doors are locked, starting at 8:15, and you are asked to check in, not to use these doors, not to use the senior hallway doors back at the back on the west side. Please use the front doors, as well as we do have our campus security guard. He is in street clothes, but he is armed, and the students are armed. The students are armed, and they interact so well together. And he patrols the entire campus, particularly during lunch, particularly during assemblies, as we do sometimes have students who do kind of like to meander that way and head out. Okay? So our security guard is over there, okay, but consistently patrolling. And I hope you've seen on our master calendar, we do have our fire drills, our tornado drills, and our safe school drills, our security drills. I always like to put those on the main calendar so you know what is going on here. And then our building hours, we open up at 7, and then we close at 4. The kids can hang out in here, or they can hang out in our newly located second floor library. Any questions on any of the topics that we have here? Your juniors may begin driving. We ask that they get a parking pass, again, for our security guard, Mr. Nieves, to know that their car is one of ours. Okay. Did I miss anything? We're good there. And so now, just an open Q&A. Main office. Say, it's okay. No, it's okay. Parking passes do not need to change whatsoever if it goes from student to student. Same card doesn't. Okay, good question. COVID-19 questions. As you can see, we carried this over from last year. It was a good habit to get our kids into. Okay, tell them to do it at home too. All right? And so they wipe down their table after lunch and they wipe down their chair after lunch. We're still continuing the habit of wiping down their desks when they enter into their classroom. It's already been wiped down from the student who sat before, the hour before, but it's just extra sanitation. We're still in the mask optional phase right now. Our data, I'm a big data person. It speaks to it. 97% of our staff are vaccinated. 97% of our staff is vaccinated. Over half of our student body is vaccinated. And we continue to send out the survey to you. I believe it went out yesterday. Again, if you've already filled it out, please don't fill it out again. But we just like to continually update it. And so I had a meeting with my NHS officers the other day and some STUCO officers, and there were probably about 12 of us. Only 2 were not in that room. Were not. So I just want to share that with you because in the moment for right now, we will continue to keep it mask optional for right now, unless the data guides me, directs me to make changes, okay? Or circumstances out of our control begin to happen within the year. Okay. Any other questions that we can answer for you regarding anything? Yes, Shelley.
If we're not receiving the emails, who do we contact?
You're not receiving the rocket launch? You're not. That's interesting. Okay. All right. Because you're a long time wrong here. All right.
I did last year.
All right. Yeah. She'll check it. She'll check you right now with her laptop. Thank you. Anybody else not receiving it? Every Friday, sometimes Saturday morning, depending on what happens. First Howdy Week dance, first dance this Friday night. Yeah, we're excited about it. So the kids are pumped. They're super excited. You all have amazing kids. They are incredible. And they inspire me, all of us, our staff, each and every day, whether it be in the classroom, on the softball field, wherever, in the robotics room, they are so inspirational. So thank you for raising such great kids. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for being here on the camera. We had quite a few on the camera tonight through Facebook Live. Oh, no. What was it? YouTube. So thank you so much. God bless you. Have a beautiful week, and let us know how we can serve you. Let us know. All right. Good night, everybody.